to other stats, but it is something that to consider, you know?
Hmm.
So what are you looking at here? You've got only utility spots and pitching spots to fill. Is it time to take a second closer?
Yeah, with one of my two picks, I'm definitely going to take a closer. With the other one, I like a lot of the outfielders, or not a lot, but I like a few of the outfielders here with Adam Eaton and Daza down the list a bit. But I think I'd prefer to wait 3 or 4 rounds and take, I don't know, George Springer, Cole Calhoun, Chris Davis, guys like that for my utility spots.
Calhoun
And
is gone, by the way, so he was
never mind.
just taken.
Okay, so all those guys except Calhoun, and I think I'd take a starting pitcher with my second pick here, or first pick. It doesn't really matter what order.
So you're looking for a starter and a reliever, kind of back to back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're in that kind of strange part of the draft where people are filling holes. I didn't even realize you took Nolan Arenado. I love that pick, by the way.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah, I needed upside in my color infielder position. Um, I think I'm going to continue that upside trend. I think I'm going to take Chris Archer.
I like it. It's a solid one. Did you give any thought there to Samardzija?
Yeah, I did. He's actually higher in my rankings, or I think he's higher on most of my rankings. But besides the strikeouts, the ERA really worries me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess this late in the draft, not a huge deal.
What do you think about Patrick Corbin? Is he a guy who you think who can kind of deliver on what he showed us last season again?
Yeah, last year, obviously he was a little overrated after his performance, just because everyone was hyped up about the perfect record partway through the season.
Yeah.
But I don't. I prefer to take guys that have the potential to strike more people out than he does. So I like him, but I don't think I would take him in a draft.
Okay.
I know Archer hasn't struck more people out in his career, but I think he has a higher ceiling than Corbin.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he does this season. I kind of dismissed him as kind of a 1-year fluke, and kind of the more like just to see how far he actually is down the ranks. He doesn't seem like that bad of a value when it comes down to it. I mean, of the guys available right now, I think he's one of the better options, really.
Yeah.
Any other, just kind of, do you want to highlight any other players here who you think maybe just are solid values available here in the 18th round at any position?
Yeah. Outfielder specifically, I think Adam Eaton is a great value for upside, especially for upside if you're looking to fill your last utility spots. Alejandro Daza. We were just talking about Jeff Samardzija. If he can improve the ERA, he's a huge value in the 18th to 20 rounds.
How much does the team that he plays for come into your evaluation of him as a fantasy player? Like playing for a bad team like the Cubs, or I mean, even someone like a pitcher on the Phillies, like just a team that doesn't look like it's going to be very good. So you know you're not going to get a whole lot of wins, most likely. I think this league is set up for quality starts, which is nice. But, I mean, for your traditional 5x5 formats, does team factor into your evaluation very much?
Yeah, it does more in the early rounds. I'm not too concerned about it this late in the draft. I probably should be concerned with it more than I actually am. But, I mean, if I'm in the earlier rounds and I'm deciding between a pitcher for the Nationals or a pitcher for the Cubs, they're close in my rankings, I'm going to take the pitcher for the Nationals.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm tempted to take another starting pitcher just to stack up on starting pitchers, but I think I have to take a closer.
Who's it going to be?
Belfour.
Ball 4. Zachariah on the clock right now. Let's take a look at his team. He's got he just took McCann to fill his catcher spot, but he's got Fielder, Brendan Phillips, Martin Prado, Troy Tulowitzki, Alan Craig, Profar, Stanton, Will Myers, Matt Kemp, Austin Jackson, Brandon Moss. Banking on a few bounce backs in the case of Kemp and Tulo and Fielder to an extent. Banking on some young upside with Profar and Will Myers. His pitching staff looks pretty solid. He's got Cliff Lee, Homer Bailey, James Shields, and Tony Cingrani at starter, and Glenn Perkins and David Robertson at closer. I like this team. What do you think?
Yeah, or David. I know David Robertson. Obviously, we were talking about how closers you can wait on him, but I think he could really be a great later closer that doesn't go early just because of his ERA boost. But I like his offense a lot, especially because I'm the only one in our rankings that has Troy Tulowitzki first, and I know it's obviously there's huge injury risk, but if Troy Tulowitzki plays more than he's averaged the last few years, he could easily be the number one shortstop. So I like that pick. Giancarlo, him and then Tulowitzki stays healthy and hits you 25 home runs. Matt Kemp stays healthy. If he's banking a lot on people staying healthy, but if everyone stays healthy, his offense could be the best in the league, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of boom or bust here. I'm a big Stanton believer. I think he's great. I would buy as many shares of him as I could in like keeper and dynasty leagues. I know he's had some trouble staying healthy, but I mean, he's another guy that when he plays, he still just kind of jacks home runs on the regular. I mean, if I had to poke holes in this team,
it'd be his second and third baseman is what I would.
Yeah, when you're starting Martin Prado at third, I think that's rough, and that goes to show you how tough it is to get like third base is just a really shallow position, is what that shows.
Yeah, if I didn't get Pedro Alvarez, I would have been screwed.
All right, I actually did take Adam Eaton with my last pick, so I'm down to a single utility spot and some pitching spots to fill here. I could take a starter. I could take another reliever, get my third closer, as it were. I'm not totally sure who the closer I would take is. Like based upon my rankings, it's probably Jim Johnson. But he's a guy whose kind of peripheral numbers worry me a little bit. Like that 1.28 whip. Like he's not a strikeout guy. He pitches a little bit too much to contact for me to be like really excited about drafting him. Jim Henderson's an interesting guy. I definitely have him ranked lower than Johnson, but I might be talking myself into him at this point. What do you think about those two closers head to head?
Throw a dart.
Really? Yeah.
And whatever one hits. I'm probably honestly not informed. Haven't done enough closer research to give you tips on like the 20th ranked closers.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Yeah, I think at this point it is kind of just luck of the draw. Like it wouldn't surprise me if either of these guys was necessarily better. I do like kind of loading up on these mid-tier guys and getting. I tend to stream in fantasy baseball, and maybe not like hardcore stream like every day, pick up a new starting pitcher and start like as many closers as possible. But I do like to have maybe 3 or 4 closers on opening day, and then either build up a lead with those guys and then trade some of them away, or like just kind of let attrition take its course and ditch a couple of closers that like get hurt or lose their jobs, because that happens. Mm-hmm. That happens a lot in fantasy baseball.
I never plan to, but I tend to do a similar thing with the back end of my starting pitchers. I'll usually have a couple duds out there, so I'll tend to stream my last starters pretty regularly.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not really, again, it's less streaming and more just kind of like
Yeah.
playing the waiver wire, playing matchups. Like you see a guy who's going into Oakland, or maybe not Oakland anymore as a great example because they've gotten a lot better over the past couple of years. But like going into San Diego, like a not a great starting pitcher, but like a pretty good starting pitcher going against the Padres in San Diego, like that's a good matchup, and maybe it's worth dropping a guy to pick that guy up. I think you can also plan ahead a little bit. You can see, oh, this team's on a West Coast road trip. They're going to play in San Diego, then in LA, and then in San Francisco. And if you can get like a solid starting pitcher, maybe not like a great guy or an elite guy, but for 3 starts in advantageous ballparks against what are mostly bad offenses, like the Dodgers and the Angels will probably be better this year on offense, but like the Giants offense is not great, neither is the Padres, and I mean you can play those matchups, and you should be playing those matchups. Even if you're not picking guys off the wire, you should be doing that with, I don't know, the guys on your team.
Yeah. Do you read Resball at all?
I do from time to time. I'm not like a really dedicated listener. I tend to prefer to do most of my own research. That way, when yeah, go ahead though.
Sorry, I was cutting you off. Continue.
I was just gonna say like that. I tend to trust my own eyes when it comes to some of these stats more than other sites. We all have our own inherent biases, but I don't know. I tend to just prefer to do my research on my own. But I do read some other sites from time to time.
It was more of they have a Streaminator tool is what they call it. So they have it helps to find matchups for streaming pitchers. So I was just kind of going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago.
Oh, that's cool. So they're just kind of lining up good matchups on the coming up.
Yeah, instead of having to sift through, if I don't want to sift through all the pitchers on the waiver wire myself, I'll look at find a few pitchers that have a good matchup, and then narrow it down to who I like. So it's pretty useful. I am gonna pick Jess Samardzija here.
How dare you?
I guess it's a good thing I didn't take him 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I mean, it's great when that happens. No, I think that's a really nice value. 19th round, definitely pretty good. I might shut down the stream here after round 20, and I mean, people can keep drafting if they want to. I mean, yourself included and myself included. I probably will finish out the draft just to see how this team shakes out. But any final thoughts on your team or this draft and kind of how it played out? You said that the live stream kind of threw you for a loop to an extent.
Yeah, especially answering and talk, not just in the draft, but talking. I think just discussing my strategy. I had trouble vocalizing my strategy early on in the live stream, simply because I wasn't used to it. But I think later in the draft, I got better at doing that, as well as multitasking with my team. But I think my team turned out pretty decent. We were talking about the other Zach's team. I love his 5 outfielders. I know that's kind of going backtracking, but
no, that's fine. I mean, he's got Giancarlo Stanton, Will Myers, Matt Kemp, Austin Jackson, Brandon Moss. Like, there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah. But I think as far as the overall draft, I think it went really well. Same as last time. I mean, I think this is a good idea to keep continuing maybe once a week for the next 2 weeks, maybe, or just maybe next week, but up until the season starts.
I'm interested to see if we could maybe pull this off with an auction. I have a feeling that would just take too long and it'd be hard to kind of coordinate. But I do think we're going to kind of continue to try different formats. Like we're throwing corner infield and middle infield in on this draft. And I think next time maybe we'll do an NL only or AL only, something like that. But we'll keep mixing it up and try to keep these things diverse and interesting and appealing to a wide variety of players. I'd also like to do maybe a keeper mock draft at some point. Do you play in any keeper leagues, Zach?
Yeah, my main league is a keeper.
How many keepers is it and how many teams is it?
12 team, 10 keeper.
Ooh, so that goes pretty deep. Who are the stars of that squad for you?
Not a great squad, I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-oh.
But I'd have to check about my team. Well,
I'll let you make your pick first.
yeah.
Go
Or
ahead.
I'm just picking a closer. So, um,